Hey guys, welcome to the Liberty Rising YouTube channel. Today I'm here with Megan and we were going to talk about what has brought us to the Constitution Party and go from there. So I guess I'll ask you, when did you join the Constitution Party?
Um, I joined at the beginning of 2023. We officially started our party here in New Hampshire March of 2023, so right near the beginning.
All right. What kind of brought you to the Constitution Party?
So the year before, 2022, I was still registered Republican. I've been a Republican all my life.
Yeah.
And I had kind of just gotten to the point where I was like, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. And I did have a friend who encouraged me to try to help uh, fix things, if you will. And so I tried, but right about the same time, I found some informational Zoom calls for the Constitution Party. And I
All
had
right.
previously been looking at the Libertarian Party, and it just didn't quite feel right. I wanted a little bit more structure,
Mm.
something a little bit more concrete. And so we did the informational Zoom calls for Constitution Party. And as soon as I read the platform, I was sold. Like this was exactly what I was looking for.
All right. That's kind of like me.
Yeah.
I pre-registered Republican and like whenever I got my driver's license, like 2014 maybe.
Mhm.
And then in 2016 during the primaries, I was uh, really behind like Rand Paul, and then I was kind of behind Ted Cruz when Rand Paul dropped out. And I wanted the party to lean towards more of a constitutional or even libertarian side of things, and just didn't felt entirely represented there. And I knew about the Constitution Party because I was like perpetually online in high school and had researched all the minor parties. And I registered to the Constitution Party in like 2016. So I've been in the party for a while, but just now have connected with some of y'all and wound up here.
Awesome.
So I heard that you had run for the school board in your area.
Yes, I did. That was another, we're trying to get more involved. This was before I joined, or actually right about the same time I joined the Constitution Party, but I did run for school board, didn't make it, but it was a very eye-opening experience, and you learn more every time you run for anything. So it
Right.
was it was good learning experience nonetheless.
Yeah. Was there any key takeaways from running? Like major things that stood out?
Um, I'm an observer a lot of the
Right.
time. So, what I did, I had some people that were more familiar with this specific school board than I was because I was a little bit newer to the area.
Right.
And they were saying they wanted to do a mail campaign. And so I kind of sat back and I didn't do much because this mailing campaign was going to go on. And in retrospect, I should have been more proactive. But I did definitely notice, like my opponent's side, they really didn't do anything until the week of, and then they went hardcore campaigning
Mm.
and they were there all day long handing out write-in information and everything. So they were very organized, very on top of it. They had a plan of action. And so, I'm trying to encourage other people to run, and then I can help, with
Yeah.
that experience and, say, well, maybe we can play ball a little bit the way they do. And
Yeah.
so, yeah.
Yeah, I've thought about running a few times. I was more passionate about it when I used to live in Pinellas County because, what's his name? Charlie Crist was running there, and he drives me nuts because he's uh, went from Republican to Independent to Democrat, and he just kind of seems to be the typical career politician who just sways wherever the money is or wherever he can get into. But I moved up to county, gosh, 5 years ago or so, maybe more than that, and it's more rural, and a lot of times it's only Republicans running. So
Oh, wow.
like it seems like everyone here might lean more towards Constitution Party stances. It's just the word has to get out there that we even exist.
Yeah.
But that I'll take that information with me. It seems like I'm friends with our county commissioner, and he was
Oh,
running
great.
for superintendent of schools. Those guys were just like their boards were everywhere across the county, and they seem to be out there all the time. But I think what sadly what a lot of people do is they wait till the last week and then they kind of just look at whose name is more widely recognized.
Yeah.
But if you're watching, you should definitely research the candidates and not just focus on whose billboard is everywhere.
Yes.
Since you're a mother and I guess you homeschool,
Yes.
and being a member of the Constitution Party, our platform is very pro-life. I was wondering from like your position, how do you feel about those issues?
It's actually interesting because when I was in college, I was pro-choice. Um, Throughout college, I got to know some people who knew a lot more about how the whole business works,
Yeah.
how everything it works. That's when my stance changed a little bit, and I thought,
Mm.
well, okay, maybe it shouldn't just be a free for all. Maybe there should be some like a line somewhere. And then about 9 years ago, I believe, I actually miscarried our second child. And so that was another big wake up call. And that I think is what turned me more so into the firmly pro-life camp.
Mm.
But all of us in New Hampshire that organized the party, we all came into it with a different stance, or at least slightly different.
Mm.
And it's been very eye-opening because we've been getting involved with groups here and with our presidential candidate, Randall Terry. There's a lot of
Yeah.
information that we've learned as well. And pretty much everybody has just become more pro-life
Mm.
since starting in New Hampshire because there's so much information coming in and you're realizing we don't get the full story.
Right.
And it's definitely made a difference.
That's interesting because it seems the Republican Party is kind of going the opposite, where they're trying to distance themselves from uh,
Yes.
more strictly pro-life stances.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've always felt that like there's kind of only two true stances where like unless you really just don't believe in the sanctity of life, which there are sadly a lot of people who don't,
Right.
but it's either that the unborn just aren't alive and then the issue is entirely just about women's medical choices, but if they are alive then you're dealing with an entirely separate life, and it's not that we're trying to control women, it's that we're just we want to
Right.
protect life.
Right. I think too, this past year, it's a little bit of a departure, but we've had some homeschooling bills come through.
Yeah.
And it's been interesting because so in New Hampshire we have education freedom accounts.
Mm.
And so based on the legislature, a traditional unfunded homeschooler is one group of homeschoolers, and then an education freedom account family is a different type of homeschooler.
Mm.
And so what I have found is that legislation now is really blurring the lines between the two of them. And so we're finding over and over again, we have to separate the verbiage. Like we have to be
Mm.
more clear in all of our bills. And I think that that's kind of similar with the pro-life group and the legislation that's coming through because I see a lot of people say, well, if I have a miscarriage and I need a DNC, they're not going to give it to me because that's an abortion. Or if I have an ectopic pregnancy and it's killing me, I can't get it taken care of because that's an abortion. And it's just, that's completely untrue. If there are
Right.
bills like that, there shouldn't be, but
Right.
I'm not aware of any. And so we need to be really clear and really define, that nobody should be refused care that will save your life,
Right.
but also we shouldn't be ending a life if there's
Exactly.
anything we can do about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was seeing a lot of those arguments coming up, and I feel like even the media was pushing some of them where, like, there's nothing in these bills that would have prevented that.
Right. I was having a discussion about this the other day actually, and we were wondering how much of societal thinking is now based on this narrative that has come through that's so you have to accept everyone where they're at and
Mm.
we can't disagree and obviously it costs nothing to be a nice person and treat everyone with respect, but when we get to a point where you can't talk about things and you can't debate things, I think we're seeing a lot of people that aren't fully educated on what abortion is and what it does, and they take their pro-life or pro-choice stance from the thought that I don't agree with it, but this person might, and I don't want to like stop them from doing what they think is right. And we're so concerned about that aspect, the
Right,
societal standard, and we're not educating ourselves fully on the actual issue.
right. It's a very sensitive issue in that regard, but it's one of like the most important because once again it's life. On almost anything else, I feel like the Constitution Party is pretty libertarian.
Hmm.
Like if it's not infringing on someone else's rights, like sure, it you should have the liberty to do what you want in that case. But like this is also involving another independent life that we have to think about.
Right.
That has been an issue, it seems, culturally, where people are so focused on like personal truths and this relativistic morality that it's hard to like
Mhm.
nail anything down. Like what are we all in agreement with here if it's all just one truth over the other? There has
Right.
to be something higher than that. And that is one good thing with the Constitution Party is at least we have like a sound standard that we're all going by, the Constitution and then the American Revolution that kind of produced it,
Hmm.
which then is pretty much founded in Christian doctrine and theology. So you have
Hmm.
that kind of going for you the whole time. I worked with libertarians for a while, and I went to a few of Young Americans for Liberty conventions, and there's a diverse group of people there. And I found that libertarians almost never agree on something. They're
Oh,
always
yeah.
fighting because there's like there's nothing for them to all go back to and say like this is what we believe. They're even like Young Americans for Liberty came from Students for Ron Paul, and there were people there who hated Ron Paul.
Oh.
And I'm like, why are you here?
It's a spectrum. I've definitely noticed because you'll meet some libertarians, and if you say something like, well, libertarians aren't focused on the Constitution, they'll get angry because they are constitutional libertarians.
Right,
But then there are libertarians who are fully embracing anarchy. And
right,
so it's such a spectrum.
right.
And I think that's what stopped me from getting more involved was just like
Yeah,
I want like a reference I can go back
yeah,
to and be like, what do we think about this?
yeah. And it seems like the most successful libertarians are just the ones who end up joining the Republican Party.
Yeah.
But uh, hopefully, we can create a platform with people who are getting involved where the more libertarian thinking, the constitutional thinking, or leaning people have a party that they can actually join
Yes.
and feel represented in, opposed to being kicked around the Republican and Libertarian Party.
Right. It's so nice too. I've been hoping that the Constitution Party would get more involved in the social media aspect because one thing I've really noticed is that the Democrats do such a good job with social media and advertising, and the Republicans do not know how to come to bat with social media,
Yeah,
especially. So it's such a great way for us to become visible, in media, even though it can be difficult on social
yeah.
media. But so I love that you're doing this. This is great.
Oh, no problem. I started trying to do it even before it was like official.
Yeah.
Always pointing people to the Constitution Party actually existing. Yeah, and I think there's a big opportunity there because I see like libertarian groups that really get people riled up online. So I know it's possible. The hardest thing right now is just that we're like at the peak of this like culture, corporate ownership of the internet, where it's like if you're using their platform, sometimes it can be really difficult to get out there. Some platforms kind of let you pay to win, almost like on Facebook, where you can boost your posts.
Yeah.
And maybe we'll do that a few times if we can scrape a few dollars together for ads, but
Yeah.
right now I'm just trying to maintain this YouTube channel and see where it heads. I might end up bringing different people on here later, and maybe we can bring a bunch of people on here at once and see where people stand when issues get brought up.
Yeah. It'd be fun to have like a panel. There's this one YouTube channel my husband watches. I can't remember what it is, but it's usually 5 or 6 people that all are kind of just hanging around talking, and those are
Yeah,
always really entertaining.
yeah, yeah. It's useful to have someone to bounce off of as
Hmm.
well. When I'm recording my videos just here, it's like a lot of me just sitting here thinking of like, what are other people thinking? Because I have to like kind of assume a lot here. How would people start to get involved in their local area with the Constitution Party?
So on the Constitution Party website, you can go on there and I think it's under contact, I believe, but if you go on there, there's a map of the United States and you
Right.
can click through the states and we either have parties already organized or you'll have a state contact. And so that state contact is trying to bring people together to organize. And so that would be the best person to contact to start to get involved. And then there's also the Howard Phillips Legacy Society, which if you click the join/donate button on the website, that'll bring you to that. And that just kind of keeps you keyed in. You get like a monthly newsletter about what's going on nationally, and it's a way of supporting the party that way.
All right. Well, it was nice getting to talk to you about this stuff. I think we're probably going to have about a 15-minute video out of this, just where I was kind of aiming with it. It's cool hearing kind of your side of things, especially in New Hampshire. In Florida, we've had the state party for a while,
Hmm.
but I've been trying to get more discussion going with us down here.
I moved to New Hampshire from Florida 4 years ago, so
Oh,
I'm
okay.
really sad I didn't know about the Constitution Party then.
Yeah, we could have used you here. Well, thank you for coming on, and if you're watching, I guess stay tuned for more stuff like this, as well as videos with just me and other informative videos about the party. And I'll see you guys in those.